Shall we begin?
Hey there, boys and girls. Bob Kearns, the unsung photographer. Been a little while, but that's okay. We're all stuck at home during this catastrophic mess. So you're a photographer or you're learning photography and you're sitting at home and you've taken 47,000 pictures of the cat or the dog or the hamster or whatever creatures you have roaming around the house, your kids, God help you. And I'm just going to show you some stuff that you can do that maybe you didn't know you could do. A little bit of magic. I know a lot of guys have been out there with their, get out your macro lens, and that's cool if you've got one, but you know what? If you don't have one, it's a big investment. Anywhere from the high hundreds to thousands of dollars, depending upon what kind of camera you have. If you've got a Leica, I don't know what you're going to do, mortgage the house. But of course, my Olympus stuff here has a very reasonably priced f2.8 macro lens. Let's see if you can see that or not. It's pretty tiny. But this does a really nice job. But what if you don't have one of these? What do you do? You know? That's kind of tough. So my guess would be, from a little bit of experience doing this, is that the lens that most people have nowadays when they get a camera is some sort of near to medium range zoom. The most common focal length is 24 to 70, 24 to 100, something along those lines. On a Micro Four Thirds camera, it's a 12 to 35, but of course that's the 2x crop thing that all the numbers nobody seems to get. So here's my OMD Mark II with a 24 to 70 lens on it. And you're sitting at the kitchen table and you want to take some pictures. You want to experiment a little bit. So what do you take pictures of? Well, let's go over a couple of the obvious things here. You got flowers outside this time of year? Run out and pick one. You can see I've got some basil in a bowl. I just jammed this in here. And I picked this yesterday, and it's still in really, really, really good shape. I'm really impressed with that. It was just sitting in a bowl of water. Jelly beans. Well, I don't know why I'm looking down here. Jelly beans. And they're great because they're colorful and the jar's a little decorative. And you can see I'm getting a little out of the ordinary here. If anybody has any old, maybe Christmas lights still hanging out, or there's a string sitting somewhere you didn't put away. If you've got one of these these are actually Halloween lights. They're kind of orange, which makes them kind of a tungsten color, which is kind of cool. So you're supposed to put them in like a plastic pumpkin or something. The other common lenses you might have a short focal length lens, like the one I have on the video camera here is a 17 millimeter Micro Four Thirds, and of course this is a 45 millimeter, 40 millimeter. Gonna kick me. 45 millimeter, 1.8. I still can't get over how tiny these things are. But that's a really nice lens. And I've done some fashion shoots with this. Right? Crazy. But they really look good. Beside the point, but that's a kind of a common one to have, and it's small and easy to handle. Other stuff I have sitting here. I got some packing tape. I don't know why. Just seemed like it might be handy. I got some double-sided tape, a little bit of this. Also because I was in the tape drawer. I got a pack of lens wipes here for my glasses and or any piece of glass I might want to clean off, get rid of fingerprints. The other thing I have handy, I'm stepping out of frame here for just a second, The other thing I try and have handy here is when I go to the dollar store, I always grab some foam core for $1. You can't beat that, right? Piece of black foam core. All right, another piece of black foam core. And I have some white foam core handy here too. Matter of fact, I'm using one as a reflector because we're in this weird lighting situation today. I would turn the kitchen light on, but it's a fan and it just blows crap all over the place and it's not helpful. So this is an old school trick I used to do years ago. When you don't have a budget, you're sitting at home, you don't have money for brand new lenses, right? So here's what we're going to do. 24 to 70. I'll bring that over here. Bring this. Oh, here's something. My wife has watercolor paints or oil paints or paint by numbers or something, or the kids do, or whatever it is. Well, wait till you see what we do with this old paint palette here. And this is just a hunk of junk I found laying around. This is why you want to go out in the garage and find that hunk of junk with paint half all over it. Turns out to be a cool thing. So I'm going to take this and I'm just going to set it up over here somewhere on my table. God, I got crumbs everywhere. I'll tell you what, you get trapped in the house for a couple weeks, you get sloppy, boys. Don't feel bad about it. Just deal with it. Okay, so I don't have a macro lens, and I'm just got this camera, and it has a wide to medium range zoom on it, like they all have 18s or something, or 25 to something, 50 or whatever. But if you can get a lens with a 50 millimeter range, that's fine. Now I'm leaving this wide open, right? That's zoomed in, that's wide. And I'm going to take it right off the camera. And here's the other thing you will never, ever, ever hear me tell you to do, except in this instance. Let's get this lens cap off. See, I use this lens so much I actually have a leash for the lens cap because I've lost too many. Take the lens hood off. Other than that, never do this, because I don't believe in these screw-on filter things unless they serve a purpose. Okay. Take the camera without the lens on it. Take the lens and you just hold it on the end. Boom, backwards, right? That's why you got to take the lens hood off. Then you've basically got to find a subject, possibly jelly beans in a jar, right? And you're not going to be able to see this if I put it down lower. So we're going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to raise the jelly beans up on the jelly bean stand, which is also my macro lens, which is just irony to no end. I'm going to turn on my camera here, and then I'll show you these pictures at the end. I'll insert them. All right. And to focus, you can't really focus anything. So you just push the camera in, right, until you see what you want to see, or what you don't want to see, but you get something in focus. And you want to try and keep your f-stop like an 8 or a 16 or something in that ballpark, right? Because you need as much depth of field as you can get. And you're going to find that all of a sudden, oh my God, how shallow is my depth of field? And the answer is too shallow, all right? All right, here we go here. Let's get this up to something sensible. All right. The pisser is, though, with his electronic lenses, you really can't change any of that after the fact. Don't worry about it. Just move the camera in and out slowly. If you're lucky enough to have a camera with image stabilization built into the camera body, good on you. If you're not, go check out the Olympus line of cameras. In particular, I think you'd be impressed. I know I am. You know, I advertise these guys all the time, not intentionally, it's just how I feel about it. Isn't that weird? I've never been that brand interested before, but I think this stuff's really especially creative. I'm looking for a green one. I think I see. It's kind of hard. Oh, there it is. A lot of whites and greens from the reflections in the window. Kind of cool. All right, so that works like a champ. I'll put some of those pictures up of the jelly bean jar. Bingo, bingo. Well, for no other reason, just to keep dust off the sensor. So there you go. I want you to thank me for the 800 bucks. I'm just picking that as a random average price of a macro lens. It doesn't matter what it is. Color helps, or texture, or a lot of texture. Like, let's take this thing here. This is that palette, right? And we can just set that kind of in the same spot. I'll take a couple of palette pictures here. I'll do the same thing. Camera's still on. We'll take the lens off. Most of your cameras, you have to get into the menu and tell them, yeah, go ahead, work without a lens on. Even though you're holding the lens in front of you, the camera doesn't know it's there because it's not mounted, and it'll just not be happy. Okay, sorry, I'm trying to stabilize that a little bit. Okay, here we go again. Sometimes it being out of focus or having motion blur or this or that turns out to be very cool. And once we get some of these, I want to show you some ways you can use them. Because the other thing you've got time to do when you're stuck in the house because of all this nastiness is edit. Get on the computer, try some creative things to do. So that was pretty easy, right? But, and it works pretty neat. But here's the other thing you can do. You ready for this? I like to light things. I like to put lights on everything. That's sort of what my claim to fame is my lighting skills. Ha. So, I'm sure you maybe don't have a fancy set of studio lights at home, or even fancy remote off-camera speed lights you might not have. That's okay. Ready for this? This, ladies and gentlemen, is a flashlight. Especially in emergency situations, you should have an operating flashlight. This one is a little cool. It has a flashy lighty thing, but it also has one of these things, which is like a little light bar, like if you were going to use it as a working light, and it has a magnet that you can stick it to something and have a little work light, which is pretty cool. But it also gives you a different kind of light photographically. Watch. No, let me put it on this side. See? Look. That's the best lit I've been all day. Nice and even. And look at the color balance. It's not terrible, is it? Surprising. Like one side of my head doesn't look blue and the other side orange. It looks pretty good. I'm impressed. So that's a handy little light. So let's say we wanted to just set it here and light up our color palette a little bit. All right. Get our lens in macro mode here. Here's the other thing that this accomplishes by lighting this off to the side. You really get more of the texture. It like amplifies it. It looks like the moon sometimes. Again, blur is okay because this is crazy crap. But kind of get very hands-on with it because you're eliminating some of the automated nonsense that these things are buried in. Though that's useful. Actually doing something with your hand, with the camera, everything all manualed up. It's pretty cool. I think so. I don't care what kind of camera you have, Canon, Nikon, Olympus, I won't say the S word, Fuji. I don't care what kind of camera you got. Fred's camera, I don't care. If you can get the lens off the front of it, you can turn it around, use it manually, and that's it. The biggest part about this, and usually you want something that can hit a 50 millimeter range or thereabouts. And the reason I say that is really long lenses, like if I put like a 150 millimeter on here, it gets awkward because it's a big lens and you're holding it up and trying to find that focus spot. And I think there's a certain point where if your focal length is too long, it really doesn't work very well. Just from my experience, trying it with different lenses here, kicking around. But hey, go ahead, try it with different lenses. Do whatever your collection is. You have a wider collection, you have more stuff to try. It doesn't have to be paint. It can be anything. What's this here? Well, that's a pen. But look, I just kicked my reflector. This is a vase that my wife had kicking around. I think it's cool because it's got like hammered brass around the bottom. It's kind of a neat thing. Could use that. You could get in on that brass, that honeycomb shape. It doesn't really matter. You know what else is cool? You're gonna think I'm nuts. That's okay. You know what this is? This is a napkin. Ready? You crumble that sucker up, and then you bring it out, and there's fabulous texture for some of your effect stuff or any photoshopping or your overlays or it's just a cool texture, period. Put up on a print big and put it up on a wall. It could be awesome, depending upon what the space is. Other stuff that's neat to have. Running off camera for just a second again. I like to call this a studio in a can, right? It's two more 8.5 by 11 inch pieces of foam core, also having originated from $1 sheet, right? And it's an instant backdrop for something small, vase or the jelly beans, right? We can take jelly bean portraits or whatever. Get creative with that. Practice our still lifes. Let's go look at some of the Dutch Masters and see how that lighting works. That single window light coming in. You can turn it around and it's a mini V-flat, right? To add light or reflection, or you can use that with your crazy flashlight here, which I still have on. Now watch this, ready? Whoa, doesn't that get bright? And now it's a soft light, right? Like that, move it back until it fills it up. See if I get too close, it just gets narrow. Not very effective. But if I move it out, see, it fills that nicely, and you got a nice reflection forward here. And you can turn it up, turn it down. Pretty spectacular for a flashlight and two pieces of foam core or white paper from the kids' notebook. There you go. You could use that too, and any piece of cardboard if you want to stiffen it up and hold it up. Now you can start to combine stuff, right? You could have this, right? Put something in front of it. What do we say? The jelly beans. Let's put them on a jelly bean stand so you can see them. Right, there's the jelly bean stand. Okay, and the jelly bean stand is pretty cool, but it's all dark over here because we're blocking the window light. So let's turn on our flashlight. There it is. Right? And now we've got this big specular highlight on the little jelly bean jar there, which is kind of cool. You can either keep that or you could diffuse it. How do you diffuse it? Remember that napkin I had? Let's diffuse it and drop that napkin over there. Put that right on top of the flashlight. Ba-doom. There we go. One napkin diffusion source. Look at that. It even has a little golden color to it because it's a brown, cheapy ass napkin. So that's kind of cool. It doesn't matter, play with the stuff you get sitting around in front of you. Just pile some stuff in front of you and go to town. This is where I would use that double stick tape if I was going to leave that like that. There you go, pretty cool. You got some texture in the background. Okay, that's cool. What if you want, do you have old junk kicking around in the way of material? I have a little piece of burlap here. I used for some product photography one time. That's why I have it. Mama likes to sew and do all that stuff, so we have chunks of things like this. So you can just take that and drape that over that weird V-flat, right? And now you can put your jelly beans up here, right? Now you got some more texture in the back. That's pretty awesome, right? Liking that, digging it. And now you can use your macro lens, or you don't need to. You can use your 24-70 or whatever it is, and off you go, right? Just fold that forward, it stands by itself, and now you can get up and go shoot. Not too hard, not too difficult. It works really well. Again, I have that piece of foam core sitting over here. I haven't shown you because it's a big one. I don't feel like moving and knocking stuff all over. But, oh, there, you can see a little corner of it. You can use that as a reflector. Now that it's not so harsh, right? That it's kind of diffused. There you go. Prettier. So there's a lot of stuff you can do. Sitting at the kitchen table and take some pictures. This is what I'm going to recommend to you for today. Get off your duff, get off the couch, get out of Netflix. I know this is all a horrifying thing, but stop freaking yourself out listening to the news. Get your camera, get to the kitchen table, or wherever you work in your house, I don't care where it is. Throw some crap on the table and take some pictures. Light them. Break out that bad boy flashlight. You want to make sure it still works anyway. Right? It's all the light you need for this kind of thing. Or if you've got other gear, drag it out. Set it up, man. Get to work. You got to keep your brain moving. Otherwise, when this is all over, not only will you have been bored, but you will be stupider. That's not good. All right, boys and girls. Thanks for watching. Hey, thanks for all the new likes and follows, and just absolutely awesome. I got subscribers from all over the planet. I know, I get excited when that happens. I have a real interest in the rest of the world, and I'm thrilled to have an opportunity to talk to the rest of the world. So, thank you. All right, take it easy. Remember, even if you're on the right path, if you're just sitting in the middle of the road, you're going to get run over. Have a good one.
Shall we begin?